Good afternoon all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Friday afternoon, March 25th. We are looking at Window Trader's market profile of SPY IWMN triple Qs. Very good finish for the bulls as another up week. We're up about $8 on the week. And SPY, that's after being up $24.50 last week. Very bizarre tone to the day in D period. Ended up losing on the day, broke an eight-day winning streak for me on one trade. We'll go over it. Didn't get hurt that badly, but it cost me my day. Pretty frustrated because I thought we were seeing the day really, really well. And then D messed things up and put things into kind of a transition period for the remainder of the day, what they wanted to do. Triple Qs. Remember, they had an outside day up. Well, they took out yesterday's high. They didn't gap higher, but they couldn't do much than that. For the outside day up was pretty much a failure. They took back one set of single prints from the previous day, part of the other, but they held part of their trend day. Russell again, and by the way, all of us took out our initial balance on both sides. So, again, that's rare, although it's happening more and more this year. It just shows you a market which was very, very skittish today. Triple Qs again, Russell again, they need the 209.05 level. We'll go over all that in the charts when we recap all of these indices. As far as us, SPY only has the day's high and low. We ended 8 wide in SPY. ES ended 9 wide. F's low and B's high traded at the same price. We just missed it. Now again, I'm not going to ignore it on Monday if we trade there, but if we don't trade there Mondays, we go forward in SPY, I won't carry it because it's only 8 wide. ES should certainly carry it. So what was bizarre about today? Well, Russell gapped open and filled right away. We gapped open and filled right away in A. But the market was still healthy. We had higher value, all of us, to start. In fact, SPY ends up with higher value on the day. Russell overlapping to higher, Q's overlapping to higher. Taking back the gap and even part of the price probe, I don't mind, but it's the way we did it and what happened. So in A period, before I get to my trades, look what we did. We had indecision, back and forth reopening, and then what happened? B popped, C popped. We had great distance away from A and B, right, for those 3 time frames. Okay. Now, for it to pull back like it did in D, and people are blaming there was a strike on a Saudi oil refinery, or one of the Fed speakers was talking. Again, to me, just all BS. Why? Because unless it was a lie about the refinery, unless the Fed guy retracted what he said, look where we closed, friends, right where we were trading. So take the news and throw it out the window. So for my money's worth, the market was just too long up here. But talk about an exasperated move. I could see taking out some weak longs, but we went from trend up to trend down in one time frame. Russell literally did that. They had singles in C and then had singles in the next time frame. So it was incredibly erratic, but look what we did. Even though we pushed below the base of our price probe, that's all we did. Look at where we spent so much time after that flush, basically above the price probe from yesterday. So I was telling the room, even though the market is trading down here, first of all, shorts are getting trapped. How do we know shorts are getting trapped? Look at the lows. D, E, F, G, H, we're getting higher lows each time. They were getting nothing for their efforts. They were packing in volume. Now, it's one thing for shorts to get trapped and another thing to go back up to K's high, which is why, and I'll go over that trade. I didn't expect that. And then look what we did. We got rid of all the longs from I, J, and K. M pushed a little lower. Got right above, and again, another big battle area here was February's very, very visual and wide POC. We battled it, for the most part, D through H. H never even got to it, though, on the lows. M, look at M, didn't get to it, and look where we closed. So I still think this market is still pretty healthy going forward. Now, keep in mind, though, Powell now, I hear, speaks Monday at noon. and again Wednesday at 8 a.m. And then we have the non-farm payroll next Friday. So technically speaking, with chart-wise, I think the market is going to do the 455, 460 level I've been speaking about. Well, obviously, if Powell goes and says something stupid again, because these guys just love to hear themselves, then things could change. As far as my trades, I did take a long in A initially when the gap filled on 450 calls, and I got paid for it as it went back up. B period. I lost on 3 shorts today, believe it or not. 2 small and the bigger one, and that I'll get into. So in B, I took a short against the opening. I'm like, okay, we filled the gap. Maybe we go back to the opening, come back, and see if we go test the base of the price probe. Got above the opening, took it off, 452s for a loss. Nothing big. And then after that, I took a long when we back tested the opening in B, which paid me the 450 calls. Then in C period, we weren't getting much tempo, even though we had single prints. Not a lot of tempo. I took a short, but didn't come in. I decided to take it off again for a small loss, 453s. And then when we did come in a bit, I took a long because of the single prints, 451 calls. So as you can see, the right trade was the longs because the market was not only one time framing up, but all in single prints. And I made on all my longs and lost on 2 small shorts. Now, D period. Believe it or not, I made money on a long in D when it flushed. Took a long at the time. I don't know where half back was at the time. It was a small one, and it rallied enough for me to get out on a profit. And I was like, you know what? Got below the opening. I'm saying, I'm not liking this. I'm not doing that anymore. So I just watched D do what it wanted to do. Now, watching E, F, and G, it's like, well, in hindsight, shit, I should have been long on every pullback. But we had single print still, well, in F when it started. So I did nothing in F. I didn't do anything in F, G, or H. Just watched it. I'm like, well, is all they want to do now is fill single prints and maybe not get back above yesterday's high and then lower POC. So our point of control is right here. In fact, I even made a bet with one of the traders in the room. We make these little dollar bets to keep things fun. I thought we would end up going back to this level with all the volume and lower POC. So I bet him $1 that POC would be lowered at some point today. Obviously, it wasn't. SPY ended 8 wide up here. ES ended 9 wide. So not only did I lose on that trade, I lost $1. But that was my outlook at that point. Market got too long, flushed out, got too short, they took it up, and then I thought, well, maybe we're going to settle in here and be happy to play inside M's range from yesterday. So, now here's the next trade, last trade of the day. I period. I took out H. I'm like, okay, still think we might roll back down to POC, right? Or even lower POC. So the further we get away from the POC, even if it's not getting lowered, the more comfortable I am taking a short. Took a small short to start, added. Should have been out above the opening. I didn't. Now, I wasn't anything really big at that point. I started getting bigger where value high was, which was lower than here. So I started getting bigger at value high, and then at J's high, I took a good piece. Now, it was pulling back enough each time where because I was, and again, I'm not sure how long I was, maybe 120 at best, at the highest, maybe 150. But each time it was pulling back, and it was pulling back, I was getting taking the losses down because I had gotten good prices on the bigger pieces. In K when it popped, I did the same thing at one point. But it wasn't coming in, and I'm like, I really think we are going to come in. But the later it got in K, I'm like, maybe it's not, especially with L and M. They're very erratic. So I had gotten it down each time it pushed in J and K, where I was still down. I'd given back my gains on the day, and I was down, but not a lot. And when K made one more push-up, I said, forget it, took it off. Well, lo and behold, I told the room I could always get back in that trade if we take out K's low. Guess what? My machine went down. It went down right before L period started. I had to reboot it, and when I rebooted it, L was already trading at halfback. So I'm not saying I would. If anything, I would not have gotten huge. I might have taken a 20 lot, 30 lot at the most to see what I could have gotten back. But my machine went down, and then that was it. I didn't trade. I didn't do anything L or M. So I lost on the day. Nothing huge. I tried to, and this is what's huge about my trading room. When I'm in this trade, I'm like, first of all, you better not be following me. And I'm explaining and walking them through the whole thing. Why I started it, why I added at the opening. Once it got above the opening and value high, I said to them, I'm not writing this trade. It might come in, but if it comes in, it's going to be more lucky now than being right, because the real reason for the trade is over. If I had taken it off above the opening, then I could have taken a nice play, obviously if my machines didn't go down, below K's low. And since my loss wouldn't have been as big, got it all back and more. And if it had gone straight up, well, at least I only would have lost not as much. So that's what's so important, especially for newer traders. If you're wrong and the reason for the trade isn't there anymore, get out. Get out. You might save yourself a lot of money if it keeps going up, and if it looks like it finally wants to roll over and shake out these week longs, some HIJK, get back in again below K's low. So, anyway, now I'm just going to give you two destinations because I gave upside and downside yesterday pretty good amounts. The only upside I have for today is today's high, which is a weekly high, 452.98. Buyers are still in good shape, I think. Now, the downside, again, I'm only using today's low of 448.43, but ES is going to be using B's low, whatever their number is on the ES for 9 wide. Now, let's go to the charts. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize how long this video was already. But you have all weekend, and I hope you enjoy them because hopefully they're valuable to you. And I appreciate all the likes and the people subscribing to them. Now, here's Russell. 209.05. Boy, oh boy, you talk about a huge level. Why? Well, on the monthly, you'd be coming out of an inside month to the upside. Well, it's not technically an inside month. We took out that previous month's low by pennies. Remember, look below and fail? But still, treated as an inside month, you'd be coming out of an inside month to the upside. So right now, to me, Russell is basically balanced on the monthly. We haven't stopped one time framing down. It's 1, 2, 3, and even though this month's an inside month, it's 4 months one time framing down. But I would call it down to balance. Weekly. Look how close they got this week to 209.05. They missed it by 26 cents, and that day they got rejected big time. So they are in a 9-week balance. They love getting in balance. Look at all these balances. They need not only to get above it, but to get acceptance. If they do, well, then they start the baby steps. The 212 level, right? 219, 227. So any acceptance above this 209.05 level, and you can, get some legs to the upside. So right now the monthly is balance, is down to balance. The weekly is pure balance. And the daily, back to balance. I called yesterday down. Well, they're back into a 3-day balance now. Let's go to triple Qs. Triple Qs and us are in much better shape. Now, triple Qs monthly is down. They took out last month's low. Plain and simple. Not by a lot, but they took it out. So they're down on the monthly. Weekly. Came out of balance to the upside. Remember, they had an outside week up last week. Now they're up. So very nice. They're up on the weekly. Right? And daily, this is a little tough one. Again, it was a 3-day, it was a 3-day balance. Well, you know what? No, the daily is up. You know what I didn't realize? We never took out, oh yes we did. We took out yesterday's low by pennies. We had the outside day up. So yesterday put it back into balance. Today stretched about the day's high by almost $1. So that I would call the daily balance to up for now. But they have a price vacuum above them. They have nothing into that 3 367 level, I believe it is. 366.49. Then they have the 200 up at 3. So say the 200. 366. Oh, no, that's at 368.45. So you have one more daily high and then the 200-day moving average. So again, they have some pretty good legs to run to the upside. So the monthly is down. The weekly is up. The daily is balanced to up. Now let's go to SPY and ES. So the monthly is down to balance. Okay? It's an inside month with 4 trading days to go. Do we have an inside month going into April? That would make for some exciting times. We'll see. But for now, it's down to balance. Weekly, up. We've popped above that 3-week balance. We are up in the weekly. Daily, up. Came out of a 3-day balance to the upside. Again, look at all these highs so close together over here. So again, unless Powell says something really stupid, I think we're going to see 455, 460 level, and then we see where we go from there. Hope you had a great week. Enjoy your weekend. Rest up. And we'll speak prior to the opening on Monday.